Good morning, everybody. Today I announced my nominee for the 14th seat at the Kansas Court of Appeals. During the 2013 session of the Kansas Legislature, the elected representatives of the citizens of our great state changed the process used to select Court of Appeals justices. From this day forward, the people will have a greater role to play in this process. The people will be more involved. The people, through their representatives in the Kansas Senate, will have an opportunity to judge the education, experience, and character of Court of Appeals nominees and determine for themselves whether the nominee is well qualified. This did not happen before. The state Senate was not involved previously in the process. In the past, a nominating commission dominated by one organization nominated 3 individuals for a court position. The governor was then required to pick one of these 3. The legislature was not involved in this process whatsoever. Kansans have a high standard for our appellate judges, and that is why it was personally important to me to select an appointee who I believe is the most qualified person to fill this vacancy on the Kansas Court of Appeals. We expect our appellate judges to possess strong character, keen intellect, impeccable integrity, meritorious achievements, and an unyielding interest in and respect for the rule of law. We expect them to carry themselves with humility and character that represents the values of a state born of the prairie. The person I am nominating for consideration by the state Senate graduated 3rd in his class, the University of Kansas School of Law. He's higher than I graduated. He has bipartisan support with an endorsement from former Attorney General Steve Six. He clerked for the Chief Justice of the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals, Denell Taha. He worked for the largest law firm in Kansas, was a county prosecutor in a rural Kansas county, started his own law office, and was general counsel for the governor of the state of Kansas. But more than that, he is a husband, father of 5 young men, and a fiercely loyal Kansan. I'm honored to formally nominate Caleb Stegall to the Kansas Court of Appeals. If confirmed, Caleb will be one of the most, if not the most qualified person to go on the Kansas Court of Appeals over the past several decades. Caleb's history of academic accomplishment, broad private sector experience and success, commitment to public service, temperament, character, and peer support is without equal. Caleb's passion for public service comes in part from his parents, who are here with us today. His father is a retired community corrections chief with Douglas County. Sir, good to have you here. His mother retired after many years of service as a science teacher at Wyandotte High School. Good to have you here as well. They instilled in him an unflinching willingness to do the right thing, even under the most difficult of circumstances. When you look at the many clients represented by Caleb over the years, you can see his sense of honor, values, and compassion displayed. For example, one case captured the attention of the worldwide media when Caleb was sought out to represent American missionaries who were stuck in Haiti after the 2010 earthquake. Drew Colbert, a Topeka firefighter and youth pastor, and his fellow missionaries had been arrested for kidnapping and being charged with child trafficking after attempting to transport Haitian children to the Dominican Republic so they could be fed, clothed, and safely sheltered in the aftermath of the devastating earthquake. Caleb successfully advocated for the complete dismissal of all charged against the missionaries and orchestrated their evacuation from Haiti with the federal departments of state and defense. In recognition of his work to free youth minister Drew Colbert, Caleb received the Kansas Bar Association 2010 pro bono certification. Judge Taha, who is now dean of the law school at Pepperdine University, recently wrote, quote, "That work was emblematic of Mr. Stegall's commitment to the rule of law and to protection of the rights of individuals." Caleb has demonstrated an ongoing commitment to practicing law for the benefit of those less privileged or who cannot adequately speak for themselves, as exemplified by his pro bono representation of Family Promise, a widely praised mission to the homeless. Of particular note was his work with the City of Lawrence on its regulation of homeless shelters, during which he worked to protect the constitutional rights of vulnerable citizens. Caleb's aptitude for excellence in the law began early in his career. He earned his Juris Doctorate from the University of Kansas School of Law, graduating in the top 1% of his class. He received the William L. Burdick Prize, annually awarded to the top law student of his or her class, the top law student of his or her class. He served as a member of the Kansas Law Review and was elected a member of the Order of the Coif, an honorary scholastic society that recognizes excellence in legal education. His education continued during his prestigious clerkship for Donnell Taha, Chief Judge of the 10th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals. And I might note here, these clerkships are highly sought after, and the higher up you go, the more they're sought after. This is an incredible clerkship to have done. The former dean of the KU Law, Professor Stephen McAllister, recently offered the following description of Caleb. Quote, Caleb, as a student, exhibited just the kind of focus, judgment, and intellect that, in my opinion, would make him an excellent judge. His background includes private sector experience with the state's largest law firm, practicing complex civil and appellate litigation. Later, he founded his own firm in rural Jefferson County and became one of the most sought-after attorneys in the state to handle high-profile litigation. Less than 5 years after its founding, Stegall and Associates earned recognition in the U.S. News and World Report listing of the best law firms in Kansas. His nomination to the Court of Appeals has been endorsed by many pillars of the legal profession, both those who have worked with him and those who have litigated against him. James D. Oliver from Fulton and Siefkin recently wrote, quote, he treats people from all walks of life exactly the same. He's considerate and compassionate while being objective and logical. He is brilliant and has common sense. He will work well with other judges on the court. Throughout his career, Caleb has earned the respect and admiration of a broad cross-section of the legal community. The list of men and women endorsing him is truly impressive and includes the president of the Kansas Bar Association, the chair of the Kansas Bar Association Bench Bar Committee, the current and immediate past Kansas Attorney Generals, one Democrat and one Republican, numerous other well-respected legal scholars and academics, both Democrat and Republican, and the minority leader of the Kansas House of Representatives, Paul Davis, described Caleb as, quote, well qualified to serve as a judge on the Kansas Court of Appeals. His service to the citizens of Kansas also includes serving as the top prosecutor for Jefferson County, where he personally handled the most serious felony cases, including murder, rape, sexual crimes against children, drug manufacturing and distribution, and white-collar crimes. One such case was a homicide prosecution that involved a particularly vicious murder. Caleb fought and obtained as a guilty verdict against the defendant for second-degree murder. The Attorney General of Kansas, Derek Schmidt, believes Caleb's experience as a prosecutor distinguishes him from many of his peers. He states, quote, as the state's chief law enforcement official, I strongly believe that having Mr. Stegall's prosecution experience added to the Court of Appeals would further strengthen the court and would benefit the administration of the criminal justice system in Kansas. It's been my personal pleasure to have Caleb serve as my chief counsel since I took office in 2011, and he has been nothing short of outstanding. His depth of knowledge across the broad spectrum of legal topics continues to impress me and others around this building. I've never known an attorney who can provide such excellent counsel on so many topics. His outstanding work as chief counsel has been noted by others as well, and his recommendation of Caleb, Whitney Dameron, wrote that, quote, should you choose to nominate Mr. Caleb Stegall to the Kansas Court of Appeals, the loss will most certainly be to you and your administration, as I know he is a valued member of your staff, but the state of Kansas will gain a worthy jurist with a great future ahead of him on our state's appellate court. Caleb is more than just a brilliant legal mind. As I noted, he's a husband, father, and son, and I'm pleased to welcome his wife Ann, children Simon, Jake, Ethan, Theodore, and Quentin, parents Ron and Kathy, who are here standing by him today and have been with him all his life. Caleb is active in his community and his church. He's a humble man who will make Kansas proud. I'm pleased to present my nomination for the 14th seat of the Kansas Court of Appeals, Mr. Caleb Stegall. Caleb?
Well, thank you all very much, and thank you, Governor Brownback, for your kind words and for the honor of this appointment. I feel truly blessed. I am grateful, most especially for my family, for my wife Ann and my great kids, and my parents, all of who are here with me. Thank you always for your steadfast love and your support. There's many, many people to thank on an occasion such as this. And I know that I would not be here were it not for the many teachers and mentors that I've had over the years who always poured themselves out selflessly to make me a better lawyer, but most importantly, a better person. I want to take a moment to give special mention to a few of these. First and foremost, in my career in the law, I note my mentor and the judge who I clerked for out of law school, now Dean Danelle Taha. She provided for me at the very early stage in my career, and really for all young lawyers who have the rare privilege of clerking in her chambers, a shining example of what it means to be a lawyer and to be a judge. I also note of particular importance for me, the law enforcement community of Jefferson County that I worked with day in and day out as Jefferson County attorney. And I note some of them are here, and I appreciate you coming. Sheriff Herrig and Chief Gonzalez, also my state representative. These folks demonstrated day by day a commitment to public service that will always stay with me. And finally, and importantly, I want to note and give a special thanks to many of my colleagues. Many of them are Democrats, and these colleagues are those who may have had and do have good faith disagreements on the matter of how we select our judiciary in Kansas. Nonetheless, they have endorsed my nomination for this position because they know my record. Colleagues such as former Attorney General Steve Six, former Sebelius administration official Steve Martino, KBA President Dennis Depew, Dan Watkins, Jay Fowler, Terry Campbell, and many others. All of these have provided an example of the professionalism, the collegiality, the independent judgment, and political disinterest that really defines our profession at its best. It is an example that I have always tried to follow as a practitioner of the law, and these are the qualities that I will strive every day to embody should I be so fortunate as to become a judge on the Kansas Court of Appeals. I've been privileged over the course of my career to work in many different facets of this justice system that is the envy of the world. I remember in particular during the few intense weeks that I represented 4 American citizens who were held in a Haitian jail following a devastating natural disaster, I was able to see firsthand in a very dramatic way how fortunate we all are in this nation to be the heirs of a justice system that zealously guards the rights of all individuals in a forum that fiercely protects fairness and impartiality. I'm proud to be a member of the profession that is called to guard this system of justice for all, and I look forward, if confirmed by the Senate, to the continued pursuit of this calling in a new and challenging role. Governor Brownback, thank you again. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to working with the Senate as we move forward in this process. Thank you again for giving me the honor of being able to continue to serve my fellow Kansans and this great state that I love. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin.